DreAllDay.com.
Stop thinking about it. This is one of the worst habits that human beings have, and the habit is giving ourselves the excuse. Giving yourself this excuse of I'm thinking about it, a thing that, again, we allegedly may eventually do, yet we never actually get around to doing the thing, or we just continue thinking about it, quote unquote, not really, but continue thinking about it and never actually coming to a conclusion despite all of this alleged thinking. I mean, a human being's ability to think is what separates us from animals like wolves and sheep and ants and turtles. Our ability to think is what separates us from them, yet we spend a whole lot of time doing this on things that we never actually come to a conclusion on or never take action on. So either something is wrong with the human thinking mechanism, or based on the way that I framed this episode, the phrase thinking about it is in quotation marks. And if it's not, then somebody messed up in putting out this episode the proper way. But it's in quotation marks because most of the time we say we're thinking about it, we're not really thinking about shit. What we're actually doing is just buying time. So today I will offer the remedy to you to cure you of this disease, because there is really no such thing as you buying time, because the fact of the matter is, for all human beings, all of you who are every day getting a day older and thusly a day closer to death, you can't afford to buy any time. You ain't got no money with which to buy time, because that's the one thing that once it's gone, it is gone. So any time that's getting used up and is being used unprofitably, such as I'm thinking about it, this bullshit phrase we give ourselves to provide us excuses, all right, you can't afford this expense any further. And in today's class, I'm going to help you out with exactly how to get rid of this off your balance sheet. Your accountant will be very happy. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is stop thinking about it. Point number one, put a limit on your thinking time. Here's an easy way for you to eliminate and cut down on your quote unquote thinking about it in every aspect of your life. Put a limit on your thinking time. Anytime that you actually believe that you need to think about something, okay, right, it's fine for you to think about it. Just ask yourself, okay, how much time am I going to actually spend thinking about it? And then by that point, I'm gonna tell you exactly how you do this. Anytime, well, first of all, let me back up. I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'll come back to that. While there are some people who will tell you that there is no need to think about anything, and that, you know, the more successful the person, the faster they make a decision, or whatever that means, in some contexts that is true, but in some contexts it is not true. Sometimes you do actually need time to think about something, where you do need to decide, do I really want to do this, or do I really want to do that? Do I really want to move to Dubai, or do I want to stay living here in Manhattan? That is something that you might not want to make a decision on at the snap of a finger. You might actually want to consider everything that comes with either option before you decide to do that, or decide on a third option. However, at the same time, that does not mean that you're allowed unlimited time to think about things. See, there's a big delta in between make decisions quickly, i.e. decide right now while I'm standing in front of you asking you a question, or take forever to make a decision and never actually do anything, which is take the rest of your life to quote unquote think about it and never actually do something. There's a big gap between those two things. And a lot of people present this as a binary, as if there is only one or another. No, there's a lot of spaces in between never and right now. So the way that you bridge this gap, literally bridge this gap, is to give yourself a limit on how much time, so that things don't get delayed indefinitely and never completed. That's the biggest problem most human beings have in their lives. Anytime you really need to think about something, put a timer on it, how much time you're going to spend thinking about it, and then give yourself some clear outcomes. What do I mean by this? Clear outcomes means either A, I'm going to decide that I'm going to do the thing, or if I decide I'm not going to do it, then the conclusion is I'm not doing it. Or if I can't come to a conclusion, if I can't make a decision after this amount of time of thinking, then the answer is no. In other words, you're using another form of a frame that is called, you may have heard me talk about this, it's called hell yeah or no. Hell yeah or no is a binary where you are basically deciding whether you're going to move forward on something because you're excited to do it, or because you're not excited. The answer is no. It's either I'm excited to do it or I'm not doing it at all. Again, that's hell yeah or no. I talked about this back in episode 196. If you're not excited to do it and you're not jumping out of your seat to go get to it, then that means you're not going to do it at all. So if you say, okay, I'm going to take 3 weeks to decide if I'm going to either stay living here in Manhattan or I'm going to move to Dubai. After 3 weeks, if I have not yet come to a strong conclusion, then that means I'm not going to take action forward and I'm going to stay where I'm at, because the answer is not hell yes, so the answer is no. That means we're going to stay exactly where we're at and keep doing what we're doing up to this point. This is the way that you frame it. And this is the way you put pressure on yourself and give yourself a limit on how much time you're going to take to think about it. So if you do not decide you will do something, then your indecision is a form of no. Indecision is a form of no. All right, that's the new way you're going to look at indecision. Anytime you can't decide what to do between taking initiative on something and maintaining the status quo, then your answer is I'm going to maintain the status quo. And now you don't have to think about it anymore, which frees up your mental random access memory, your RAM, so to speak, so that you no longer have this on your brain. And the subconscious mind understands it. It can just clear the ledger on this one right here. And it keeps you from having a whole bunch of half-baked ideas sitting around watching cobwebs get built on top of them because you're thinking about it. If you still need to keep thinking about something after a certain amount of time, just conclude that your answer is no, and it's the reason why you can't come to a solid conclusion on that thing. And then move on with a clear slate. Point number 2, today's topic once again is how to stop thinking about it. Number 2, if the answer is no, just say to whoever you need to say it to, or tell yourself no, and let that be the end of it. Now, is this necessary? I mean, is this even necessary, Joey? I actually just have to tell myself no, or tell the person no, or can I just tell them I'm thinking about it, or just tell them let me take a look at it, or let me tell them I'll get back to you, and then just ghost the person and never talk to them again? How about I just do that instead of just telling them no? Because telling somebody no or telling myself no, that's uncomfortable. I'm kind of cutting off possibilities. Why tell myself no? Why even take this step, Dre? Why are you even making this a point in the episode of your show? Good question. Let me answer it. If and when you come to a conclusion of no, whether it's because you actually did think about it and you decided that the answer is no, or because you've been thinking about it and you have hit your time limit on thinking about it and have yet to come to a conclusion, therefore your default judgment is going to be no, whichever reason that you came up to the no answer, then leave it at that and move on to the next thing, with this case heretofore closed and completed. But again, for it to be closed, you have to make sure everyone involved knows that the answer is no, so that everybody can move on. Again, some of you are subconsciously wondering, why even do that? You're cutting off your options instead of leaving doors open. My answer is exactly. You just answered your own question. Why do that is so that you cut off your options for leaving doors open. Now, you may ask another question. Well, Dre, why would I want to do that? What is the benefit of doing something like that? See, leaving doors open and giving yourself as many options as possible when it comes to making decisions, specifically in this context of making decisions, this is the very thing that slows you down. This right here. Too many people are walking through life as if you're moving in quicksand or you're running in water because you have too many loose ends untied, too many open decisions yet to be made, and it's a drain on your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has to keep all these tabs open, so to speak. You ever been on your computer and you got too many tabs open all at the same time, and it starts to slow down the computer because it's using memory to make sure each one of those tabs stays active? That's you and your subconscious mind when you have a whole bunch of things that you're thinking about, but you've never actually gotten around to concluding on any of them. You're slowing down your own processor. You're slowing down your own operating system. It's draining the subconscious mind's battery. It's draining the random access memory, and therefore you have less resources to apply to the things that you actually need to be focused on because a decision has been made on them. Because you got all these open, unmade decisions that are still just lingering, just sitting around taking up space. It's a drain on your energy. It's a drain on your life, and it's a drain on your time because you have all of these situations in which you have been indecisive. Napoleon Hill talks about the 31 major causes of failure. And he talks about this in one of my favorite Napoleon Hill books. I put it in my top 5. It is called The Law of Success, or The Laws of Success. And from that derived the book that most of you know him for, which is called Think and Grow Rich. And indecision is the number 1 item on his list of the 31 major causes of failure. The number 1 item on the list of the 31 major causes of failure is indecision. People's failure to make decisions, or taking too damn long to make decisions. So once you have decided that the answer to something is no, that this is not happening, all right, regardless of how you came about it, and I've given you the 2 options, then that's the end of it. All right, there will be no further discussion on this matter. I remember I worked at several different gyms in which I sold memberships. I worked at a gym called Valley Total Fitness at one point. I worked at a gym called Philadelphia Sports Club, and I worked at a gym called LA Fitness. And at all three of those gyms, I was doing some form of sales. And I remember once I was working at Philadelphia Sports Clubs, and this was in the Society Hill section of Philadelphia, which is south of the downtown Market Square area and north of South Street, the famous South Street in South Philly. So Society Hill is right in the middle of those. And there's a pretty affluent area in which I was working. I remember this guy came in there and he was interested in the gym, and I showed him around. Same thing you did with every possible member. Show him around the gym, show him all the equipment, talk to him a little bit, sit him down in your office, and you present to them the pricing options and how the memberships work. The memberships were pretty cut and dry. And he told me that, hey, and I could tell he wasn't bullshitting. He said, Dre, let me think about this for a day or two. Then I said, all right, how much time do you need me to follow up with you, et cetera, et cetera. He said, follow up with me in a day or two, and I'll tell you where I'm at with it. Now, I've had a ton of people tell me that they needed to think about something and they were just using it as a stall tactic to just get out of the situation, or because the answer was no, but they were too uncomfortable actually telling me no directly. This guy, it felt a little bit different. Felt like he really meant that he really did need to think about it. Now, again, I heard this 100 times before, so at first I thought, part of me thought, okay, he's just bullshitting like everybody else. And part of me said, oh, this guy actually sounds like he might be telling the truth. We'll see. He said, follow up with him in a couple days. So, of course, like a good salesperson, I followed up with this guy in a couple days by phone. And I followed up with him. He didn't answer the phone. I got him a message. He called me back not too long after that. And I remember sitting in my office, and the guy said, he's a white guy, but he spoke very professionally, very directly, very clearly. He said, Dre, oh, yes, thanks for following up. And he said, yeah, you called me. I said, yeah, I was following up on the gym membership thing. You told me you need a couple of days to think about it. Where are you at? Where do you stand on it? He said, yeah, I thought about it, and I decided that I am not going to move forward and not join the gym. So there will be no need for any further discussion on this matter. And I said, I never heard anybody say that to me before. In all the years that I've sold anything, I've never had anybody say that to me, no matter what I was selling. From something that costs $1 to something that costs $50,000. I've never had anyone frame a no answer in that way. And I said, okay, well, hey, thanks for letting me know. He said, sure, no problem. And we hung up, and that was it. I've never heard from that guy since. That was the most professional no that I've ever received. I almost appreciated it. Actually, I did appreciate it. Not almost. I did appreciate it because, number one, I never heard anybody word it that way. Number two, I appreciated the directness. And number three, I could scratch them off my list of people I need to keep following up on because they're not answering the fucking phone that they told me that they needed to take some time to think about it. When I was working at Philadelphia Sports Clubs, that was in 2006. All right, some people are still thinking about it 19 years later. All right, this is indecision. What I'm showing you here, that example that I just gave you of that guy, that's the opposite of that. All right, this is someone who actually decided this is what I'm doing, and he said this is exactly what it is. I'm done. There will be no need for further discussion on the subject. He wasn't saying it in a rude way. He was saying it in a polite way, but a very professional and very direct way, to where I did not have any objection handling material for what that man said. Of all the ways we practice objections in sales, that is one objection. It wasn't even an objection. It was a rejection that I did not practice for. I wasn't prepared for. So I just had to accept it and say, you know what? I got to give you that one. So anyway, any of you want to tell somebody no, if the answer is no, I just gave you a template for how to do it. But the biggest problem many of you have is that you never come to a conclusion in the first damn place. So you can't tell somebody no because you haven't made a decision. Decision, by the way, comes from the root of the word is from a Latin word that means to cut off. Decision means you cut off other options. So once you've decided on something, you cut off your other options. And why does that matter? Because again, it clears the slate of your subconscious mind. It gives you more space to operate on the things that you are deciding to move forward on, rather than you having a bunch of things sitting around that are kind of shallow minds, so to speak, that haven't been closed up. Point number 3, today's topic, once again, is stop thinking about it. Number 3, adding time to situations is akin to committing suicide. When you add time to a situation, you are killing yourself. Now, how do I make that make sense? Oh, don't worry, I'll tell you. Every time you add time to a situation, keep in mind that your life is made up of time. So anytime you add time to a situation, you are basically shortening the amount of life you get to live before you die. So you're killing yourself because you are shortening the time. Now, how are you shortening the time? You're 30, you're going to live to your 80, you have 50 years. So if you add time to a situation, you still have 50 years, whether you add time to a situation or not. Right, Dre? So what are you talking about? You are shortening your life. Here's what I'm talking about. When I say your life, let me explain what that means. Your life means the space that you have available in which you can do the things that you want to do in life. I don't think thinking about it is one of the things on your bucket list. Now, as any of you have on your bucket list, things you want to do before you die is spend time thinking about something. Any of you have that on your bucket list of accomplishments that you want to achieve this year? I just want to think about things for more. None of you has that on your list. Now, if you do have that on your list, then you can disregard everything I'm saying in this point. Listen to the first 2 points and ignore the third point. But any of you who does not have thinking about it as an outcome that you want to achieve this year on your list of goals or your life list of goals, then what I'm saying to you is absolutely true. You're killing yourself by adding thinking about it or adding time to any situation, because now you have less free time with which you're going to do anything else, or less mental space to do the other things that you're going to do, because you have just added on to the mental ledger this thing that you haven't made a decision on yet. The sooner you make decisions on things, the sooner that case is closed, and the sooner you can move on to doing other stuff. But as long as you keep that case open and you're quote unquote thinking about it, now you have this is just taking up all the space. You have this mental baggage, this subconscious baggage that you are holding on to because you have failed to make a decision. And yes, you are failing to make a decision. It's not you didn't make one, it's that you failed to make a decision. When you fail to make a decision, you miss out on the opportunity. You might as well have just said no from the beginning if that's what it was going to be. Every time you trade time for decisiveness, you are moving yourself closer to dying without getting more things out of the way. So you have less life left to live and fewer things accomplished and completed. I don't think that's a combination that you're aiming for, but if I'm wrong, you can let me know. Delay is a version of putting your life on layaway. Everybody know what layaway is? Some of you may not even know what it is. Layaway is when you want to buy something, you put some money down. Today, let's say it costs $50. You put $10 down now. You come back every week and pay $10 more until eventually 5 weeks later, you paid the whole $50 and now you get to take the item home with you. I remember I bought a bicycle on layaway once. I went to the shop. How much is the bike? I said, you got a payment plan? They said, yeah, we got a payment plan. Give us $100 now. Then you can come back and give us another 100 and 100, 100. And when you pay the full amount, you get the bike. And I put the bike on layaway. So anytime you delay, you're putting your life on layaway. The problem is you don't want to put life on layaway. Now, you can put a bicycle on layaway, but don't put your life on layaway. All right, you are mortgaging your future to buy comfort in the present. That's what you're doing when you delay things. You're selling a little bit of your future just so you can feel more comfortable today. Bad idea. I would suggest you do the opposite. You sell a little bit of your comfort today so that you can do better and feel better in the future. You should do it the opposite way. It's a very bad investment to mortgage your future for today's comfort. People consciously and unconsciously do this all the time. I'm making it conscious for you so you can stop making a mistake, even if you have previously been unaware that you've been doing it. And everybody does it. I talk to enough people. This is the reason why I told you that today's episode is about curing you of a disease. All right, thinking about it is a disease because it's an excuse that people use to add time to situations. Adding time to a situation is a bad idea overall, regardless of who you are or what you're doing. Why? Because the sooner you get things done, the sooner you can move on to the next thing. And the more things you get through, the more life you live. Recapping today's class, which is stop thinking about it. Again, one of the worst habits that human beings have, giving yourself the excuse of thinking about a thing rather than actually coming to a conclusion on it. Number one, put a limit on your thinking time. There are some things you can decide on quickly. Do I want a hamburger? Do I want a cheeseburger? And there are some things where you might need to actually think about it. Do I want to move to the West Coast or to the East Coast? Do I want to marry this girl or dump her? You need to think about those things, but you need to give yourself a limit to how much time you're going to spend on the thinking. Okay, I got 3 weeks, I got 3 days, I got 60 minutes. After that time, if you can't come to a conclusion, the answer is no, or the answer is yes, but you are done thinking after that time is up. Limit your delay. Number two, if the answer is no, tell whoever you need to tell, including yourself, that the answer is no and just move on. Why you do this? Because it clears the cache, it clears the space in your mind, it clears the slate, and allows you to focus on fully the things that you have decided on and you're actually going to do rather than having all these other things sitting around untended to. Number three, adding time to situations is akin to committing suicide because you only have a certain amount of life remaining. All of us, there's only a certain amount of life we have remaining. Every time you add time to a situation that you should have completed today, you are taking away from the time you will have available in your future, however long that future may be, which is basically you mortgaging your future so you can feel more comfortable in the present. And the comfort you're buying in the present is the comfort of not needing or of not forcing yourself to make a decision. Forcing yourself to make a decision is sometimes uncomfortable, but understand discomfort is what allows you to grow, folks. You don't grow from being comfortable, you grow from being uncomfortable. And sometimes discomfort simply means shortening the clock on yourself. All that said, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to learn how to shorten the clock on yourself strategically to where it's actually helping you grow, helping you get better, and you can see the tangible results of doing it. I can coach you on exactly how to do it. You listen to the show, you know I know what I'm talking about. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. We got a couple options there. Full coaching directly with me. Join the Circle Group Coaching Program. Either way, you're going to get the game. That's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all